I'm going to talk with David Icke. And I've looked up the sky and I saw the moon during the day. Sometimes you have it in the morning, you see still in the blue sky the big round moon. Fantastic. And I thought, oh, that's a great question for you. Because you have lately told us all that the moon is not is fake. It's not a real moon, it's not a planet. It's being made up, it's a machine, or what is this?
Well, what I'm saying is it's one of two things. It's either a hollowed out planetoid.
A what?
A hollowed out planetoid, you know, what the name they give to something that they don't perceive to be big enough to be a planet, but it's still a body.
Okay.
Or it's been created from scratch. We accept things as they are, often because they were like that when we were born, and we tend to think, well, this is how life is, this is what it is, it's the moon, mate, isn't it? But when you start pursuing these things, where you say, okay, let's ask some questions about it, and you realize that what seems to be straightforward, like it's a moon, and it's a moon, mate, is actually nothing like straightforward. You also realise, and I've found this with so many areas of my research in the scientific field, that so much of what is accepted scientific fact, when you play it back into where it came from, turns out to be someone's theory, which through constant repetition is accepted as fact.
Yeah, right.
And so the question I looked at was where did the moon come from, or where is it perceived to have come from? And if you asked a mainstream scientist, he'd probably say a Mars-type planet came along, smacked into the Earth when it was forming. A chunk went away, broke off and became the moon. And that's known as the Big Whack theory, or the Whack theory. But then that didn't make sense through physics and various other things. So they had to get their quart into a pint pot, like a big fat man trying to get into a pair of trousers too small. We've got to make this fit, okay?
Right.
Okay. Now, just put some elastic in. Put some elastic in the trousers, okay? Now, everyone pull. Hey, oi, click. He's in.
Yeah.
See,
it's true.
See, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
See, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
No. That's not the size of trousers that man should be wearing. You've just forced him into them. And it's the same with the thing about the moon, because when the Whack theory didn't work out, they came up with a double Whack theory, which is that the Mars-type planet hit the Earth and then came back and had another smack at it, the old one too. And then you look at other areas. I mean, putting it in simple terms, they have no idea where the moon came from.
No.
And then when you pursue it even more, you find that scientists have said over the years that, one, for instance, that the only thing you can say for certain about the moon is its observational error. It's not really there, because it shouldn't be there. It's far, far too big. Over 2,000 miles across, far too big to be a satellite of a planet the size of the Earth with our magnetic field. There's something fundamental about the moon which is not the story that we've been given. And my suggestion is that the Earth is being controlled in terms of our perception from the moon. When you're dealing with people like George Lucas, the producer of the Star Wars movies, who is a massive insider, a lot of these so-called science fiction movies, etc., not least things like The Matrix, come from an understanding of the way things are, and they're based on fact, not fiction. And for me, we're looking at a situation where the moon was brought here.
Hi, Blue Fox here. On September 27th, 2015, I took pictures of the eclipse of the moon. I set up my 5-inch telescope using a 17mm eyepiece and took these snapshots. You will notice in the pictures stars show through the dark portions of the moon. And as I go through them, I'll blow them up a little larger so you can see these stars. I'll point to one. There's a blue star here, a white star. There's another star right here that shows up quite good. And that's that picture. Move on to the next one. You can actually see the stars here. Now we'll zoom in and we'll see a red star with a white star right in here. And then there's 3 stars, a white star, a blue star, and another blue star. And there's a white star pretty much over here. Okay, now this one here you can see the stars. 1, 2, that's pretty bright. Now zoom in on it. Now there's a red star, white star, showing through the moon, white star, and then blue star again, with another star over here. And as we go further down, we see another blue star and a white star. There's more stars that I'm picking up on this film. They do have 2 stars out here and on the edge, but this is basically closer to the left side of the moon. Moving on, you can see 2 stars here. There's another star here, 2 stars down the bottom, and another star here. So we'll zoom that up for you. There's the one on the bottom. Some stars shining through. There's another 2 stars. Faint one in the background. And we have this star, this blue star, and this white star. Also we have 1 star shining through here. And we look at this, we see the stars shining through again. So what my point is the moon transparent? I've heard people talk about that, and as I see these pictures, I see that there's stars shining through like they had predicted.
Alright, here's the general information. This was shot on March 27 at 9:20 Houston time. The unusual thing is roughly 40 seconds lapsed between the waves. The big deal is Randy followed the research and knew there was a prediction for waves between the equinox and Easter. Here comes the footage. I will cue you. It's coming from the bottom right now. And there it goes. Alright, there's the first wave by. What makes this footage very unusual, and you can see Hattie Bow said always in the 3rd phase up till 2012 and associated events happening with the wave that I filmed in 2012. What's crazy about it is these things keep getting harder to see, and look at the spacing. If you saw the first one, would you sit there and stare for 40 seconds trying to determine what you just saw? I mean, what's going on here? Anyhow, in about 10 seconds, we're going to see the second one. I'll cue you as it comes in from the bottom. And there it is. So I'm going to load filters. And by the way, he used a diagonal with a prism, which is why the image is flipped. Okay, the first view we're going to take here is with only contrast and brightness. I'll cue you when the wave is coming in from the bottom, and here it comes now. There it is. And I have cut the 40-second interval down so we don't have to wait as long to see the second wave. Here is the cut mark. And right here is the second wave, and there it goes. And to be clear, this gentleman is using what's called a diagonal. It holds an eyepiece. There is a prism in there. That is the only reason why the image is flipped, and I have not unflipped it to present it as it was shown. Here's color, contrast, brightness with channel inversion, and here it comes. That's a pretty good view, and I'm going to run some other filters to see how much better I can get the view for us. And these are all in real time. There's no time manipulation. There was the cut, and here it comes from the bottom. All right. So there it is, and let's load up a couple more filters and see what we can do. Okay, so this is a find edges filter, and in the filter it's not inverted. Here comes the wave from the bottom now. And there it is. And look at that pulsating. This find edge filter is such a handy thing, and it's reminiscent of the energy pulse in the 2012. And here it comes from the bottom. But as I ran the filters, that's what struck me, was just the pulsating look that the entire moon has. And I ran this on just some footage I shot last night, and I do not get the same effect, though I don't have footage from this time, unfortunately. And here it comes from the bottom. Here is an inversion of the find edge filter and blended through to the original file. Here comes the cut. There's the cut. And here comes the next wave right now. All right, and we'll load up one more view with filters and then look at the thing in its entirety. So right here is an inverted find edge that's partially blended through with contrast and brightness. And here comes the filter now, the wave right now. And right here is the cut in the file to shorten the interval. Here comes the second wave right now. Let's look at that pulsating moon up there. It's crazy. All right, here it is in its entirety, coming in at the bottom right now. So this is just a color channel inversion using brightness and contrast to tune it in as best possible. There's going to be 40 seconds to watch the full footage here in between the wave footage, but thank you so much, Randy. I mean, I know how much work it is to sit out there hour after hour trying to catch something, but I truly appreciate that you understood there was a prediction for waves in this time, and you went out and nailed it. And it's unfortunate that I was not filming for 2 minutes that I should have been. Anyhow, we're coming up on the second wave. This will be the final view that we take. And there it is. The 12th lunar wave captured. 7 people have done this. This is the second capture from Randy in Houston. Everybody that has an interest, please go out and film. Up until Easter, the true full moon Easter, is the time to do this as predicted by my research and backed up by Hattie Bow. Cheers.
There it is. Broad daylight, almost a full, about 3/4 of a moon. It literally looks transparent. Excuse me. You can literally look right through it and see clear through it. For some reason, in the daytime, it's like transparent. And at nighttime, it appears to look solid. I'm not saying it is, but it appears to look solid at night sometimes. But there's been video at night where it also looks transparent. So, you figure that one out. But, about 30 degrees to the left, there's the sun. Both of them visible in broad daylight. One's not on the other half of the planet. Earth is flat. It's not a globe or a ball. There's no way possible for it to be a globe or a ball. Just do your own homework. Just please do your own homework. But anyway, look at that. Supposedly one's supposed to be on the other side of the globe. The so-called globe. One's supposed to be on the other side. There's one right there. And there's the moon right there. And I am in North America, in Ohio, closer towards the center of the flat Earth, closer towards the North Pole than the rim continent of Antarctica. According to the globe theory and NASA, I should not be able to see this. This should not be possible. But of course they'll come up with some kind of crackpot theory with some false math and false numbers. They'll call it a mirage. You know, it's just realize, people, your human eye cannot see 250,000 miles away or 93 million miles away. The depiction and description of Earth in the book of Genesis in the King James Bible is the truth. One of the biggest lies in the world is telling you that the Earth is not flat because they're hiding God from you. There's a glass ceiling up there, and there's water above it. All the stars, the sun, and the moon are inside the glass ceiling, the firmament. You can't get out. NASA fakes it. They go straight up and turn sideways and land somewhere else.
On dynamic pressure now.
Yeah, everything looks good here. We're at 1350 on the start bar.
Set 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second.
Stand by for mode 1 Charlie. Mark, mode 1 Charlie.
1 Charlie.
Cliff Charlesworth taking a staging status.
This is Houston, you are go for staging. Inboard cutoff.
Inboard engines out.
I'm inboard cutoff.
Downrange 35 miles, 30 miles high. Standing by for the outboard engine cut down now.
Staging. And ignition.
S4B is go.
11 Houston, thrust is go. All engines, you're looking good. Hi, Roger, you're loud.
Right.
Oh man.
దాన్ని రూట్ తీసుకుంటుంది వంగిపోతున్నాను రూట్ తీసుకుంటుంది అది దాని ఆర్బిట్లోకి వెళ్తుంది ఆడ పక్షులు కింద అరే అన్ని లేసాయి సౌండ్కి దానికి అదిగా ఇప్పుడు కనబడుతుంది కరెక్ట్ 5 ఫోటోస్ ఉంటే ఇది చేసిన
Oh, I think the booster rockets are out.
Yeah.
Wow, birds.
Primarily aimed at testing the best technologies to fly, orbit and communicate from the red planet.
And the whole mission control center.
If the mission is successful, India will become the 4th in the world after the US, Russia and Europe to reach Mars. The orbiter mission has ambitious science goals too, including a search for methane in the Martian atmosphere. On Earth, the chemical is strongly tied to life, and it was first detected on Mars a decade ago. But recent measurements made by NASA's Mars rover Curiosity only show trace amounts of methane, puzzling scientists. The spacecraft will also study Martian surface features and mineral composition.
Pure white. Red చెప్తున్నాడు పడిపోయిందండి ఎక్కడ పడింది అవును కిందకి వస్తుంది అది అవును
Okay, as you can see, the moon is still clouded, but we'll just have a little kind of status update. Let me just turn the light on again. And here we are. Okay, the setup's still the same. The temperature reading from the moon shade is 27.2 degrees centigrade. Okay, and the one from the box inside, which would be getting moon light, is 26.6. Okay, 26.6 in the moon shade, 27.2. I'm sorry. 26.6 in the moonlight. Okay, there it is. Oop, that's getting the moonlight. Okay, and 27.2 now. That's gone in there. Okay, and the ambient temperature reading here is about 26 centigrade. That matches with that, not that, in the shade, and almost 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Interesting results so far.
Testing the full moon light versus the shaded moonlight. I have a mat out here in the yard. The left side is full moonlight, the right side is moon shade. I don't want the light to interfere with our testing, so I'll do it quick. .2. I'm testing with an infrared thermometer. And this is full moonlight. .4. 2 degrees different. This side is full moonlight, and that side is moon shade. Moon shade. Moon shade is definitely warmer than direct moonlight. Totally opposite from what the sun does. The sun shade is cooler and moon shade is warmer. They have complete opposite properties.
With all due respect to the late Zacharias Sitchin, anybody who wants to listen to his last interview, you can go to our websites right there. The fact that he had his office in Rockefeller Center in New York City makes you wonder if he's part of those cultural editors that continue to keep us in the dark. But Eric, you say the moon is self-illuminated. Why do we only see portions of the moon during the various moon phases?
Yeah, they say that the cause of the moon's phases is the reflected sunlight hitting it. But you can prove that the light of the moon is totally different from the light of the sun. The effect it has on foods and plants is different. The actual temperature of the light is different. So if you're in the sun, of course, in the shade, it's cooler than in the sunlight. But in the moonlight, it's cooler in the moonlight than it is in the shade. So if you go in the moon shade, temperature goes up. So it couldn't possibly be reflected sunlight, otherwise it would be warm, just like the sunlight is warm. So it's casting its own light. The phases are a function of the moon itself, and it's provably a translucent flat object, not a opaque ball as they claim the moon is. If the moon was a ball, first of all, you'd be able to see different faces from different areas on Earth. So if you're at the Arctic or the equator or the Antarctic, you should be seeing different features because you're looking at a different face of the moon from there. However, no matter where you are on Earth, you'll see exactly the same face, the same man on the moon, the same rabbit will always be there, but it'll be tilted 360 degrees at various inclinations because the moon actually turns like a wheel as it goes around us. And that's another proof they use of their ball model. They say in the north hemisphere, the moon is right side up, and in the south hemisphere, it's upside down. So that's proof that we're on a ball. But as I said, it's not so simple that it's just right side up in one hemisphere, upside down in the other hemisphere, but rather it's always turning. So you can find pictures of it at all inclinations, not just two opposite inclinations. So this is one proof that the moon is not a sphere. They say that the moon's a sphere and it rotates as well as the Earth, but since we only see the one face, their excuse is the moon rotates the opposite direction the Earth does, and it's perfectly synced so that when the Earth is moving and the moon is moving, we never see any other face. So another convenient explanation. But in reality, the reason we never see the dark side of the moon is because it doesn't exist. There isn't another side of the moon. It's just a translucent, it's not densely physical because you can see through it. There's been pictures taken of stars being seen right through the moon. And the Royal Astronomical Society has recorded stars and planets like Jupiter have been seen through the moon. And they're scratching their heads recording this, like wondering what they've seen. And this is on record back in the 1700s up until today. You can see things through the moon. On a clear afternoon, you can see the blue sky through a waxing or waning moon. You'll see part of the moon illuminated, and then part of it, you'll see the blue sky right through it. Even some of the craters, as they call them on the moon, that's potch marks, nobody knows exactly what they are. It's strange looking. Calling them craters, though, is a foregone conclusion because you don't know that that's what they are. Especially, as I'm saying, some of these supposed craters, you can see the blue of the sky through the crater. So it's obviously not something that's densely physical. You can see through it. You can't see opposite faces from different places. And if it was a ball can't reflect light either. The only way that the moon could reflect light like they say it is if it was a flat or a concave surface. A convex surface can't project light, reflected light, the way it's claiming that the moon does.
Now, Occam's razor for a moment. If you and I are born and raised by Isaiah, an isolated tribe in the Pacific, and you and I look at the horizon around us, we would think the earth was flat if nobody told us the opposite. And if you saw an eclipse and the sun and moon look exactly the same, you would come to the conclusion that the two objects are the same size, wouldn't you?
That's right, exactly. And you wouldn't come to the conclusion that you were moving either. They say that we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour. We're going around the sun 67,000 miles per hour. There's no way you would think of that because it's nowhere evident anywhere that we're moving. Instead, you'd look up and you'd see that the sun, moon, and the stars are all revolving perfect circles around us. And that geocentric common sense perspective is what you would assume the truth was, until some liar with the NASA logo on his shirt, a little forked snake tongue, if you notice, that's what the logo is. They come with their little forked snake tongue and they say, "Oh, silly peasant, you're not motionless with everything revolving around you. The sun is motionless and you're revolving around it."
doing some low-budget film. Some sex comedy, probably. Anyway, I smoked a hell of a lot of grass back then and would frequently not remember what I was doing. I was supposed to meet someone at stage B, but I foolishly walked into stage D. I mean, I really was cock of the walk back then. I mean, I paid no mind to any rules or regs. I mean, you might call me an easy rider.
Get on with it, Toast.
All right. Anyway, I wandered through the back door, but failed to notice a large keep out sign and red recording light as I made my way into the vast film studios. It could have been something to do with the amount of children in need I was smoking, but the very next thing I knew, I was walking on the moon. I could even see a couple of astronauts waving at me, and the Apollo 11 space module.
Hey, cut! Hey!
But out of nowhere,
hey, you!
A parka-wearing hairy man whom I recognized as Stanley Kubrick slammed me hard against a wall.
Who are you?
He demanded to know who I was.
Stephen Toast.
When I informed him, he berated me in an angry fashion.
If you ever breathe a word about what you've just seen, I guarantee you will be tracked down and killed. If I ever hear of you again, you're dead.
Oh. And another thing.
Now get the fuck off my set.
After Kubrick had finished berating me, I noticed the stern-looking man in the doorway watching was none other than
Richard Tricky Dicky Nixon.
That's clear.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made from the White House. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you have done. For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure that they too join with Americans in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done, the heavens have become a part of man's world. And as you talk to us from the sea of tranquility, it inspires us to redouble our efforts to bring peace and tranquility to earth.
I'm afraid. X-ray Delta 1, this is Mission Control. Roger, you're 2013. Sorry you fellas are having a bit of trouble. We are reviewing telemetric information in our mission simulator and will advise.
This is Tranquility Base. The Eagle has landed. Jesus H. Christ. Houston. We're on the fucking moon. Over. Roger, Tranquility. We copy that. We cannot believe you are on the fucking moon. Repeat, cannot fucking believe it. Over. The moon, for Christ's sake. The moon. Over.
Are you quite sure?
You're cleared to hook up lunar equipment conveyor to fucking walk on the moon. Over. I'm descending the ladder. See the Earth. The entire planet Earth. Love of Christ. We read you, Tranquility. Over. On the bottom rung of the ladder. Just one more step and I'm... Tranquility? Holy living fuck. Are you fucking believing this? Over. We read you. Over.
I hope the two of you are not concerned about this.
I absolutely am standing on the surface of the fucking moon. I'm talking to you from the surface of the fucking moon. Jesus H. Christ in a chicken basket.
can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over. My God, it's full of stars.